Hey, welcome everyone to Aging in Action, and we're very happy to have as our guest today Dan Xilon from BDSFB. Welcome, Dan.
Welcome, and thank you so much for the opportunity. We appreciate it.
So BDSFB, what is BDSFB?
That's a short form instead of the Banque Sudbury Food Bank.
Okay, great. And tell us a little bit about your organization and what's happening lately with all of this COVID crisis that we're all going through.
Okay, well, the organization, the Banque Sudbury Food Bank, is an organization that has 44 agencies in the region of Sudbury and area, and member agencies. We assist with food supplies and funds so that they can do the frontline service. There's no logic in me sitting at the Sudbury location, letting the people in Onaping Falls tell the people in Onaping Falls what they need. They know what they need, so they let me know what they need, and it's my job to make sure they get it. Basically, the 44 member agencies stretch from all the way from Capriol, Hammer, out to Walden, down to Marquette, in between, Espanola, and then, of course, all through our general region of Sudbury. Basically, if there's a community in Sudbury, a town in Sudbury, it has a food bank that's associated with us as a member.
So, Dan,
the reason why we have, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I was just trying to wrap my head around this. So, for example, I live in Capriol, and I know we have our Roses Food Bank here.
That's correct.
So that would be affiliated with your organization also?
Oh. Yes, they're member agencies of our organization.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
No problem. No problem. The reason why we've gone to a hub and spoke method in the region of Sudbury is because it's the only thing that made it get like previously. Obviously, you can't have somebody from, or in your case, Capriol, hungry, having to go to Hammer. I mean, if you're hungry, you obviously can't get to the next town. So we have to have a food bank in Hammer. We have to have a food bank in Capriol. We have to have a food bank in Onaping. We have to have a food bank in Dowling, because we got to make sure that people in those areas could access the services they may wish to do so. So that's kind of how it came into being in the hub and spoke. I would say that I can't take any credit for the hub and spoke system. It was in place before I actually started working with this organization. However, having said that, I'm proud to say that the hub and spoke system is used by many food banks throughout Ontario. And I think somebody can take a little bit of pride in being one of the first that did that.
So, Dan, given everything that's going on with COVID-19, what's going on with your organization? Are you getting an increase in calls, increase in demand? So what's going on right now?
Yes. We are really the front line of this present situation. Not health-wise, but certainly social-wise and food-wise. Make sure people don't go hungry. We are experiencing a large in first-time users to food banks, more than we've ever seen in our entire history, and we can totally understand that. I mean, if you were working last, I believe Tuesday was when the first announcement came down, and you were suddenly told that as of 5 o'clock Tuesday night you are no longer working because you're not an essential service. I mean, most Canadians are not prepared for that. So so it's been quite an increase. Most of the food banks are telling me that they're doubling and tripling their numbers at the present time. Whether that will continue or not remains to be seen. Once the government funding and such gets into place and people start getting their benefits and things, we'll see what happens. At the present time, we're maintaining the need, and we're hoping to, and we are in a position to probably assist with another increase to a degree. The key you got to remember, when I say to a degree, I mean with the services we offer. We will always do the best services we can. We've got at any time. You know what I mean? It's just that in the upcoming weeks. But right now, thanks to the support of the community and thanks to the incredible volunteers in our organizations, we are holding our own as far as that goes.
Fantastic.
And recently you've had some fair-sized donations, I think. I remember reading something.
Yes, we've had some incredible. I'd like to point out that, that everybody says we had some massive donations, and we certainly appreciate the massive donations 100%. But in our case, every donation is important, whether it's $10, whether it's $100,000. They all make a humongous difference in the community. Obviously, the $100,000 allows us to buy more food for sure, but you know, the $10 also allows us to buy quite a bit of food too. You've got to remember that the capacity to buy food for the Sudbury Food Bank is somewhere, because we have the feed and the Canadian associations, we get the opportunity to deal with suppliers from all over the country to bring food into our organization. So we're very blessed to have those stock accesses available to us. So we tend to get about $6 in food value for about every dollar that is spent on food. So we're very lucky with that. Well, here's the key. I said that. There's always somebody that, oh, that's great. 4 years ago, we used to get $8. But you can just see food has gone up 25% over the last 4 years. And now we're down to $6. Kind of very interesting.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is.
You know,
yeah.
that's where it is, right? Yeah. So yes, we have donations. Three would be, of course, the Lougheed Foundation of $100,000, and we just received word that we are getting a value donation of $100,000 just yesterday, which was an incredible surprise in both cases.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable that people are stepping up to the plate like that. We also got a $10,000 donation from Doyle Chevrolet and such. That was really amazing. And I have to tell you, it's just incredible the way people are stepping up. But you know what? I mean, not to take away from these incredible donations. Don't get me wrong; they're beautiful and much appreciated. I get door to door the building, but they come in with their $50 or their $40 or the $60 from their birthday party.
Yeah.
Because they ask for a donation to the food bank instead of presents. Well, you know, those kind of bring a little tear to your eye too.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you got these kids that understand, these children that understand the aspect of what's going on and knowing that they are helping and thinking of others before themselves. I those kind of donations are just so heartwarming. They're all heartwarming. I get it.
I think we're having some kind of technical issues all of a sudden.
Okay, I didn't know that was just me.
No.
Yeah.
So Dan, just to, I guess also we're in a community where we still have a lot of essential workers. So there are a lot of household incomes that have not decreased right now under these situations. So this is really a time for us also as a community to step up, right? For, like you said, those individuals in the households, like we don't have $100,000 to donate, but we definitely have $100 to donate. And that goes 5 times or 6 times more than the average, right? Dollar. So those are also important factors for our community, that this is a necessity that's going to be ongoing for months to come.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we have to agree with that. Didn't mean to kind of bite off there. If I did, I apologize for that. We're all intelligent enough to know that May 6th is not going to be the end of this.
Right.
Obviously, it's going to go well into the summer. And I think we just have to accept that. And you know what? If by some slim chance we're wrong, so much the better. But I think that's an expectation. A hope and a prayer is not going to, although prayers are important. I think we're looking well into the summer before any kind of normal begins to start, and then it's got to get to normal from that point. So we're in for a tough year, but you know what? The folks of Sudbury and the people of Sudbury, the businesses of Sudbury, they all understand that. I've got organizations such as taxi companies like Aaron Taxi that they're trying to keep all their people employed. So what they're doing is they're going to offer, like for shut-ins or people with or seniors with disability issues, they're going to offer a delivery service of food from a food bank location where they will go from to their household there. You know what I mean? Now, they can't do that continuously 24/7 a day, but they're going 2 hours a day for the driver to do that. You know what I mean? And I think that's just, like, those are the kind of things that are amazing. We talk about the money. There's not only the money, there's all kinds of cool things. I've got people that are donating, restaurants in town that are donating meals, for example. But we've got a lot of wonderful organizations out there that are doing everything they can to help, and we truly appreciate each and every one of them.
Yeah, Dan, that was actually going to be my question, is if somebody couldn't afford, let's say, to do a donation, is there anything else they can do in the community? And it's nice to see some of the creative thought processes of businesses. I was also taking a look at the website. What about volunteers? Like, are you still looking for volunteers? What's that process look like?
And respect to everybody that's asked to volunteer. That's incredible. I appreciate that. But there are quantifiers in how many people can actually volunteer. Social distancing components of being taking care of yourself, those kind of things. Recommended individuals that should not be volunteering and such like that. They should be staying at home safe and such. So we actually have hundreds of people that volunteer. We really can't use those volunteers at the present time. We certainly have them on standby. So should I go through the volunteers that I have here and they feel they're no longer able to continue the work, or they're just getting exhausted, my volunteers are working incredibly and incessantly long hours for volunteering to make sure the food gets out to the people that need it, and the people in the member agencies are doing that. Certain member agencies are looking for volunteers. Our recommendation is you give the food bank a call. We'll connect you with the 2 or 3 agencies we know are looking for volunteers, and we will certainly hopefully coordinate with that, so maybe you can volunteer right in your own community, as opposed to having an example, let's say. We appreciate each and every person that's been willing to volunteer, and we would love to use you and about us when the time comes. But right now, again, as I said, with social distancing requirements and everything else, we presently hold our volunteer base go in the store to 6. So I have 2 teams of 6. They come in on alternative, which is the 12 volunteers right now. Those volunteers are moving tons upon tons of fresh product, milk, bread, canned product, and it's just truly, truly amazing to see them diligently putting forward their efforts to help people in our community, mainly for the reason that they know it's the right thing to do. I might hit each and every one of them. It's just incredible.
Wow, that's awesome.
And do you think, given the whole situation with the COVID crisis, that food costs will increase because of maybe the shipping costs or maybe people regrowing? I don't know. Do you think that's what's going to happen in the near future? Or?
That's a good question. And you know what? That's a rather lengthy question. I'm not sure I'm qualified to give an answer on that. I would suggest that if food becomes scarce, and remember, the scarcity that's out there right now, folks, is not a scarcity of food. We haven't lost the peach trees. We haven't lost the manufacturers, at least at the present time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This has been a man-made shortage right now. You know what I mean? And it eventually will rectify itself, of course. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, I would suggest maybe the air in my world is a little purple. I don't know. But with gas and everything like that, I would say if food prices do go up, it certainly can't be attributed to transportation.
True.
Because it's got to be a lot cheaper to ship stuff around right now with the prices we're paying for gas here. And forget the price we're paying up north here. Look at the prices you're paying down south, 69 cents, 66 cents. I mean, it's
it's a little disappointing to see the diesel go down.
Yeah. So I would suggest, outside of a normal increase that I've always been going, as I've said, the food has increased by price overall in the last 4 years. Outside of those type of increases, I don't believe there to be any crisis associated directly with this. I don't know if I'm qualified to make that statement or not. You got to remember that when I say the food bank, you remember the figure I told you, when the food bank, don't get it, folks, but when I buy cereal, I can get it for 75 cents a box.
Right.
I don't buy it for the $2.99 or the $4 or $4.50 that you guys pay out there. Sorry, apologies on that. I get the benefit of doing that because Feed Ontario, and I'm part of the food situations allow me these kind of opportunities. I really can't tell you what I pay for a dozen eggs, because I think people would just be upset by that. But trust me, we do very well. We do very well.
Well, and as
we
you
had this
should.
ad-
And you should. It's
Yeah.
the right thing. I mean, it's for our community, right? It's not going into your pockets, so it should be that way.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. Go ahead.
Oh, didn't want to interrupt you. Sorry. I hope this isn't a silly question. But if somebody, is listening to this and is hearing about this, and I've been blessed enough that I haven't needed to use, the food bank or services, but is there any specifications that someone needs? Like, how does someone access your service through the food bank? Like, is it just a phone call? Do you just walk in? Like, how does it work?
In most cases, it's a walk-in. Food banks are set up geographically in the region of Sudbury. Okay, so there's a food bank in your location. The addresses of the food banks in your location are on our website at www.sudburyfoodbank.ca. Also, their hours of operation are there too. If those hours your need, you can look at other food banks. In this crisis, normally you only go to the one that's in your geographical area, to be fair to everybody. Right now, due to the way it is, obviously, if your particular food bank is not open on a particular day when you need it, you can access additional food banks. Again, all their phone numbers are there. Access additional food banks in lieu of yours. We kind of hope people aren't going to one and then two and then three. You know what I mean? That's not what the program's for, right? The program's to help as many people as possible.
So Dan, so when somebody shows up at one of your locations, there's no, screening, or they just
not at the present time.
Food?
Yeah, no, at the present time, we request that a person that uses a food bank service or chooses to use a food bank service gives, they all slightly different. You can call the food bank you're going to make sure, but in most cases, it's just simply give your name. You give two unique identifiers. So you give your name. My name is Dan Xilon. My postal code is POM. That's what you do. You show a piece of ID that identifies you, and then the person puts the food, gives you the food, or steps back and you take the food to the table where it is in front of you. Most food banks are accessed now by one portal, so they are. In some cases, people have to wait outside. In some places, if the aisleway is long as it's 6 feet apart, 2 or 3 people can be in the food bank, and it's a very quick and painless process. And it's just get in and get out. And all the best for your next time you come to visit. And that's how we're doing it for safety of the safety of their families.
So do they ask how many family members in that household, or does everybody just get the exact same amount of food?
No. You would say you're a family of 3. You would just say if you had 3 pieces of ID, one for each person, that would be ideal. But let's face it here. We're not talking cash. We're talking food here. I would assume that most Sudburyans, if not all, would be very truthful about how many people are in their family and such like that. And in that case, of course, you would get the food requirement for that many people.
It's true.
Do you have food items for, say, I had a child who was 6 months old and needed formula, or do people have to access that somewhere else?
They would access that through one of our member agencies, ideally pregnancy care, pregnancy care, have all that kind of product, which is necessary. Organizations such as the Rouge Access Age, like supplements and things like that, those kind of things. Those kind of situations, individual directly to those food banks stuff. We do have quantities, but we can't maintain food banks, so it's easier to go to these ones that are specialty for pregnancy care, or children. Those agencies would be the one that the person would be directed to.
All right.
Well, that's good to know. I didn't know that existed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they do. There's agencies, we try to keep things food, but when you food, it's a pretty broad banner of food. We also do food, but when we can, we also supply the food banks with pet foods and diapers and the pants and whatever we happen to have, right? But there are certain organizations out there that specialize, in that type of thing. Pregnancy care being one of them. Like, they have diapers, they have formula. That's what they do. And when they don't have it, they call us and we supply them with some. So, we do try to meet those kind of needs. Can we do it 100%? throughout the entire chain. I would say no, we can't. But again, as I said at the start of this conversation, we will always do the best we can with what we got, no matter what we have. You guys guarantee when you go to the food bank, you get the best we can give you at that time, based on supplies, needs, etc. You know what I mean?
That's wonderful.
Ideally, in a perfect world, we give you everything we can, but sometimes it just may not happen. Now, what's going to happen over the next 8 or 10 weeks? Who the heck knows? I have no idea. But we will see how we will play the cards that are dealt to us, and we will shore up where we can to make sure that nobody that accesses the services go hungry. If there's somebody out there who does not access our services, we can't find you, and we don't know where to look for you. You know what I mean? So people have to make the personal decision of whether they want to go to the food bank or not. I would recommend this to people that are thinking about that. I would recommend this to them. If you are in an accident, you go to you get blood from the blood. If you have a fire, you call the fire department. If you're sick, you take an ambulance, you go to the hospital. The Sudbury Food Bank is just another service. I'll bet not a government service or a government-funded service, but it is a service to assist people in need. So if you go to any of those others, if you have problems, why would you not come to us if you have a challenge?
Exactly.
It's true.
You know
That's
what
a
I
good way to
mean?
look at it.
You know, it's amazing. I can tell you safely, quite safely, and with the greatest respect and love for my dad, who was an incredible man. He was a taxi driver in town. We had 6 kids. If I'd known, well, I didn't have 6 kids. He had 6 kids. And if I had known then as a child what I know now, we were obviously a family that should have been using food bank services at that time. But there was a pride thing in there.
Right.
People worse than us, etc., and everything like that. You know what I mean?
Well, I think
Yeah.
that
Please-
pride
please
still
let's
is
find.
today
Yeah.
in our community.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you can't get over that, because pride thing to people really look at when a person passes, the most important thing on their tombstone is that little dash between the day they were born and the day and what you did. And I understand that pride is an important part of that, but I request that people please pray, stand in the way of your family not receiving the most nutritional food it can at this time under this present crisis.
No, and you know, Sudburyans are very giving, and they want to help, and sometimes they don't know how to help. And we'll post your contact information when we put this podcast episode up, and let them know that they can help out if they want to make a donation. Maybe hold off being a volunteer for now, but that could be further down the road, and we don't know how long this is going to take to get this resolved, but we will get through it, and Sudbury is going to be that much stronger.
Well, I totally concur with that. I have always believed in Sudburyans. I've always believed Sudburyans do what it takes. You know, Sudbury, in my opinion, my honest opinion, this is not just platitudes, is a big family. Every family has a few issues, but it is a family. And people will step up to do what's required and necessary to do. And I know that's whatever that is, whether it's help your neighbor. Just check on your neighbor to make sure that they're okay, especially a senior. Give them a call, make sure that they are comfortable in their house. Do they need anything? Would they like you to go out and maybe pick them up or something like that? Not a coffee, although I guess you could do that, but I mean, maybe they need something, you know, and just anybody you know who's self-isolated and doing the right thing. Let's make sure they're not left out there by themselves looking at walls saying, what the heck am I going to do now? I know this last weekend was the first weekend I haven't worked in quite a long time because of the way things are presently going. And I was sitting there at home, and you know, you get the impression, hey, sitting at home, what a beautiful thing to do. And it was a beautiful thing. Don't get me wrong, to sit at home for that particular day. But I realized I probably ate 4 meals that day. And that's not counting snacks, right? So let's not get people to get into that. Well, there's nothing to do. I might as well have a bag of chips type thing. You know what I mean? No, let's make sure that we keep everybody in the loop, but we keep the social aspects going there and let people know. And we're not talking nowadays, especially with many seniors having their own phones and everything like that. It doesn't even require the need to dial a phone number. Just send a text. How are you doing today? Or how are you doing today, Sandra? and get an answer back and maybe talk for 2 minutes. The difference would be extraordinary, I'm sure, for these folks.
Well, thank you so much,
Thank
Dan.
you.
It was great talking to you today. And like I say, we'll post the links to your organization. And like I say, we'll get through all of this.
Thanks, Dan.
We will. Oh, I thank you all so much for the opportunity. And all of you, please stay safe and stay healthy out there.
You too. Thank
Thanks,
you
you
so
too.
much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.